Yo, what's good? Big Z here, and today I'm going to show you how to make that new Oliver Heldens bass sound that he's been using a lot recently. So this specific bass sound is used in his remix of David Guetta's track, Don't Leave Me Alone. So you can go check that out. I think I got pretty close to the original. So this time, instead of using Serum like I normally do, I used Silent because I'm pretty sure he used Silent to make these sounds. As always, you can download the patches down below. But let's jump right into it. The bass consists of two layers. So here's the first layer. It's like a classic square bass sound. Then the second layer is a saw bass that takes up way more of the frequency spectrum, and it's the main sound you hear. So I'm going to start with the lower square bass that really just fills out the low end of the bass and gives it some punch. So it's this patch I made in Silent right here. And basically it's a very simple sound. So it's a square wave, or I guess they call it a pulse wave in Silent. It's a pulse wave with one voice of unison, and make sure the re-trigger button is checked right here. And then for the amp envelope, these are the settings I have. So you want a decent amount of release on there, some decay, a little bit of sustain, and make sure the attack is up a tiny bit. It's a pretty standard square bass. There's really nothing fancy going on. I'll show you the processing I have on it. I have some EQ, just cutting off everything above like 1200 hertz to make room for the other bass. Then I have some compression on there, which I used Wave's Renaissance compressor for, but you could use any compressor to do this. Then lastly, I have some multi-band compression that is just controlling some of the very low end, like everything below like 120 hertz. It's just compressing it a little bit. You can see what it's doing when I play the sound. So it's just controlling that low end, keeping the sub in check. Alright, now for the more exciting half of the bass layers. It's this saw bass, and here's the patch for that. So this one is a saw wave, and you want to make sure that the voices is turned up all the way to 8 voices of unison. Make sure the re-trigger is not checked. And then, since this one is just playing full out, no filter the whole time the sound is playing, you don't really need to mess with the amp envelope or the filter envelope at all on this one. It is a really distorted sound, however, so you want to go into the distortion tab and add some overdrive to it. So I just turned it up all the way. That just gives it some more grittiness and power. As for processing on this one, I've got some EQ cutting off everything below 150 hertz, not to mess with the very low end of the other bass. Then I took out some annoying frequencies around 2000 and 4000 hertz and rolled off the highs slightly. Then I have the same compressor on this one as I did with the other bass. And then lastly, I have some serum effects on here just to add some phaser to the sound. So the phaser just adds a cool characteristic to the bass and makes it sound more unique. So you just want a subtle effect on there, like something around 40%. Definitely not all the way, because that'll ruin the bass. But something around 40% is good. Another thing I should note is that these two bass layers aren't playing the same exact notes. So the bass line for the bottom layer, the lower layer, is more static. It's just playing notes in the same octave. Whereas you can see if I switch over to this saw bass, it's still playing the same notes technically, except it switches off between octaves. So it'll jump an octave just to give it some more melody. Alright, that's it for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Spotify below. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.